what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Hey everyone, welcome into The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 115. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl. Burley and Carl, how are you guys doing? Having any after effects from recording the Game Awards? No.
Well, Expat, that's usually when I'm up anyway, playing Persona 5.
Right. That's the second time you said that. We had some technical difficulties and we had to start this recording again. So yeah, I'm just going to throw it out there now. But anyway,
it's nice. It's so phony when I try to say it the second time.
Okay. Yeah.
Me, I haven't noticed any after effect.
Yeah, but I do want to give a shout out to Fryman14. Thank you so much for helping out with the recording of the Game Awards and of course becoming a patron. So you can all go to patreon.com/thearena_podcast and you can check out our Patreon out there where you can get our content ad free and early on some of our content there. So Fryman14, thank you so much. We really appreciate you and. Thank you so much for helping out with that. And Burley, do you want to give a shout out to him as well and for his streaming? Yes.
Yes. Everyone, please do go check out Fryman14. He's on Twitch, so go to twitch.tv/Fryman14. He's a variety streamer. He's going to be streaming that Choo Choo Charles game, the train with the spider demonic face. Also doing Callisto Protocol and The Last of Us Part 1.
Nice.
And because of our bet, probably Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. All right.
Pick the wrong horse.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about the Game Awards and all. We're going to be talking about the winners. We're going to be giving our thoughts about the Game Awards overall, as well as talk about the announcements, the reveals that were shown of games coming like in 2023. We're going to be talking about that. And, of course, our picks of the week for December 12th through the 18th. But before we do any of that, and before we get into one major news story that came out this week, and before we talk about the games that we've been playing, here's a brief word about where you can find the podcast.
Before the crew discuss what they have been playing, this episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, in audio and video formats, will be going to Patreon in early access for one day after being recorded. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry tier 1 level at $1 per month and get early access to every episode in audio and video formats, exclusive post-show content in video format when recorded, as well as watch or listen ad-free, please visit patreon.com/thearena_podcast for further details. Weekly on Sundays, the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, and in video format on our YouTube channel, The Arena Productions. For the audio version, just download your favorite podcast app and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Podcast, where you can join and chat with the Arena Podcast community, and the podcast audio website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. For all information regarding the podcast and our entertainment and pop culture related content, along with our blog and forums, visit the official website of The Arena Productions at www.thearenaproductions.com. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at TheArena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
Okay, guys. Yeah, I've just been playing Callisto Protocol more. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything about the game, but I'm still having a great time with it. it's intense and it's very brutal, but it's fun to play. So I'll just leave it there. Carl, what about you? What have you been playing?
Yeah, so Persona 5 Royal, of course, still.
Yeah.
I talked about in the Discord, and I got very angry over this one boss battle because it's just I don't like losing in games like this because
Yeah.
I don't have time, So like I lost like an hour I spent, I think. Like I felt because in between, like there's a timer right on this battle, and if you go the length of the timer, yeah, I mean like it sucks and you've wasted a lot of time. And when I beat it with like less than a minute left on that timer.
I see.
So yeah, it doesn't pause the dialogue, by the way, in between the battle. Like that doesn't pause the timer. So like I'm reading the dialogue and like the timer's still going. I'm like, wait, video game, do you want me to hurry up or do you want me to read the dialogue?
Right.
I can't do both. Like, I'm sorry. So yeah, it was a bit annoying. It was forcing you to do much more things that game doesn't normally force you to pay attention to, like buffs and debuffs, special conditions in battle and timer, like I said. But anyway, I got through it, and the game is still great. So I did try to play one other game, which was I started last night. I played about maybe an hour, so maybe a little more. Was Chained Echoes.
Okay.
Ooh.
And this is a style. It looks like a sort of 16-bit era, bordering also into the PS1 era of 2D turn-based RPGs, like JRPGs. It is made by pretty much one guy, which is pretty amazing because as I'm playing it, I think this game is fantastic so far.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts off in like a really cool place with the characters, the setup for like the world and the story. I think the dialogue in the story is well written so far. I mean, there's a couple things like backstory stuff that come up, and I'm like, it's pretty generic, but it's not. It doesn't really like stop me. Like it's my only little criticism, but like it does a really good job of like early on. I'm getting introduced to like a bunch of different characters. So like you actually play as like you start as playing as these two characters. Some significant event happens, and then a little bit of time passes, and you start playing as these other two characters. And then you go and you do something, and then you start playing as another guy, and then you do something there. You start playing as this other female character, and then that character then meets up with the first two characters you played as, and that's where I'm at now. And I'm starting to off to the races there with the story. I think at this point.
Right.
And it's a cool way to sort of introduce you to like 6 of the playable characters that are going to be in this game, right off the bat. And it's cool. I like that to see. It's like, all right, I'm getting usually in these games you get the perspective of like just the one main guy. Like it's always you're just following that one hero.
Yeah.
But in this case, they start you and let you play as different heroes, and it's cool. Combat has one unique like sort of system that I really like that's different from these games. It's this like overdrive meter, and there's like a range in the middle that's the green, and every attack you do is going to move that meter.
Okay.
And when you want to get into the overdrive meter, when you're in the overdrive, your technical tech abilities cost like half, and you take less damage and you do more damage. And if you go over that, then you're overheating, and it's sort of like the opposite. I don't think stuff costs more, but you take more damage or something like that, or you do less damage.
Okay.
So when you're in it, like you gotta then there's certain attacks, like certain things you can do to lower it. Like if you defend, of course, that lowers it. And there's like an icon on the top and specific types of abilities, and that changes like every turn, every time you take an action. If you do one of those type of abilities, then it lowers that overdrive meter. So it's this cool way of like sort of balancing and getting you to like not just like not just being like I'll just spam my best attacks all the time. Like you can't, but it wouldn't be effective, and you'll end up taking more damage and doing less damage if you do that. So I really like when they play with some interesting system like that.
Cool.
So yeah, so far, I mean, I think it's fantastic. It's a beautiful looking game. Even the music is also really good too so far. So pretty amazing effort for a single developer, kind of like a
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it was Tunic was mostly one person, I think, as well, right? Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. Burley, how about you, man?
I've been playing a variety of stuff. I tried out the new DLC tracks for Mario Kart 8.
Okay.
Those were a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I beat the main story on Pokemon Violet, so I'll
Nice.
be recording in the next little while, recording footage for that.
Okay.
That is going to be an interesting extra take because there are stuff I really like, and there's stuff I've got a face palm that they release this in the States. So
Okay.
that one's going to be an interesting one to do.
Looking forward to it.
Yep. As am I. I've tried a few others. I tried that Forspoken demo.
Yeah, how is that?
I need to know.
Yeah. Okay.
I need to know.
It's like combat, like using the different spells and changing them. Fun. That part is fun, and it does use the adaptive triggers a little bit. My problem though is because like they're trying to show it off, like how fancy and all this and like acrobatic and stuff. It doesn't feel that way. Like I feel really like you dodging and stuff feels really slow, and it just like is kind of weird with the combat pace. It's like after playing a little while of this and this just seems like this is going to be a slog of an open world to get through, and not something I want to pay full price in January to get.
I see.
The demo does not get me excited. I'm hoping the full game is better, but I can't recommend buying it. Download it and try it if you got a PS5. You're interested, but just know it's 30 gigs you're downloading, so you're downloading like probably like a third of the game. It surprised me it was that big, and there is content there. Whether or not you'll enjoy it, that's up to you and your styles and preferences. I also played some Last of Us Part 1, the remake.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it, but yeah, you can tell in some aspects they didn't even try graphically updating the PS4 version. Yeah, no, it looks like you could do a side-by-side.
So they just threw it in there. Yeah.
They threw it in there at some points. Some parts they cleaned it up and made it a little bit nicer, but it's like, wow, you really guys just went for the cash grab. You really went for the cash grab on this. This is glad I didn't use my own money and this was a gift card game.
I see.
Does it feel different? I don't know how familiar you were with the previous game.
It feels about the same. I think it made control a little better, but I never had a problem with the controls. Like I played the PS4 version, I got up to about the dam and just said, this game ain't clicking with me, no pun intended, and just gave up on the game.
I have to admit, going back to my play of Callisto Protocol, that I've run into some monsters now that really remind me of in The Last of Us, the bloaters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they like spit acid at you, and it just takes forever to take them out. I mean, yeah. But the way they look in the game, they remind me of the bloaters in The Last of Us game. So. Yeah.
I've heard that about Callisto Protocol, that like fighting some enemies feels like almost like a boxing match. Like you're just like it's like taking too long.
It's all hand to hand. It's all hand to hand. You have that club, and then you get a pistol, which you can create on a 3D printer. But yeah, I mean, you have a limited amount of ammunition. I mean, like 6 rounds, and you can pick up more ammunition, as you go on. But yeah, it's mostly hand to hand combat at the moment. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. All right. So we're going to get into one major story that happened this week, and Carl's going to set it up for us before we get into the juxt of the episode with the Game Awards. So, Carl, take it away. Of course, the FTC has brought a lawsuit against Microsoft over the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Go ahead. Take it away. What's going on there?
Yeah, so I'm using Polygon's article. They got a bunch of quotes from the FTC here. So yeah, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission is suing Microsoft over its planned $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, saying that the deal, in quote, would enable Microsoft to suppress competitors to its Xbox gaming consoles and its rapidly growing subscription content and cloud gaming business. They also, a bunch of quotes that I think important to read. They said, acquiring and using valuable gaming content to suppress competition from rival consoles. And they make note of the acquisition of ZeniMax for $7.5 billion. They say Microsoft has already shown that it can and will withhold content from its gaming rivals, which they specifically mentioned Starfield and Redfall.
Yeah.
They also erroneously said that they committed to like the European Commission or something that they would not do that, which is false. And the European Commission even came out and said, like, no, they didn't. That's not what the thing that they told us said. It didn't say that we weren't going to put anything exclusive on our console.
Right.
Microsoft has already shown this in quotes that it can. Sorry, I read that part. Today, we seek to stop Microsoft from gaining control over a leading independent game studio and using it to harm competition in multiple dynamic and fast-growing markets.
Yeah.
So one of only two types of high-performance video game consoles is a quote that they have in there. So they're very specifically leaving out the Nintendo Switch as in this market for some reason, which doesn't really make sense.
And they're leaving out the most important handheld, the Steam Deck.
Well, yes.
Because that's truly high performance.
I mean, compared to the Switch, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Where else? All right. Another quote. One of only a very small number of top game developers in the world that create and publish high-quality video games for multiple devices. Which, damn, like, you're completely off. I mean, if you want to say, like publisher, okay, there's not that many, major publishers, but like small number of top video game developers. No, you smoke crack on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, with control over Activision's blockbuster franchises, Microsoft would have both the means and motive to harm competition by manipulating Activision's pricing, degrading Activision's game quality and player experience on rival consoles and gaming services. Changing the terms and timing of access to Activision's content or withholding content from competitors entirely, resulting in harm to consumers.
And Sony doesn't do that.
Well, I just got something on the degrading Activision quality content. Like, have they played some of Activision and Blizzard's games over the last couple of years? Like, some of those, I don't know how you could degrade worse. Did you see the Warcraft 3 remake?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Carl, I want to point something out here, though. I want to point the FTC. It's filing its suit within its own administrative courts, so it's not in the federal courts. So basically, the FTC hasn't sought a preliminary injunction, which it basically technically means that the deal could still go through. It just wouldn't be, it wouldn't have regulatory approval, but it could still go through.
I'm in no way a legal expert on any of this. I have watched some of Hoaglaw's videos, who is the person to go to right now if you're looking for how this stuff actually like works out from a legal standpoint. So some of the things that I've gleaned from him about that is that like there's just a specific reason they didn't do an injunction, kind of because the deal's not going to go through anytime soon. So like they don't need to stop the deal because like immediately, because it's not happening immediately.
Yeah.
Could it go through without that? I mean, like from what he says, like that doesn't really matter. Like they wouldn't do that because it would be like catastrophic, right? If you were to do that, and then they're like, no, we blocked the merger. Like, so yeah, like that's not really something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an ongoing thing because the reason the internal thing you said, they're using the internal court. I mean, it's all sort of a play for them. This is them. These are their sort of moves that they can make in order to like delay this deal, delay the rulings, keeping it internal like is sort of an advantage for them, but it's not like it wouldn't ever go to federal court, because at some point it would, right?
Yeah.
It just sort of changes the timeline to do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, if there's anything else I wanted to read here, and then we can talk about it a little bit more. So we continue to believe that this deal will this is Brad Smith, right? Microsoft response saying we continue to believe that this deal will expand competition and create more opportunities for gamers and game developers. We have been committed since day one to addressing competition concerns, including by offering earlier this week proposed concessions to the FTC. While we believed in giving peace a chance, we have complete confidence in our case and welcome the opportunity to present our case in court.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot said back and forth. Even Activision's CEO Bobby Kotick is still on board. He's still, he says they want to win this, and he sent an email out to his entire company talking about how they're still all in on this. He still believes this is good for all of them. So yeah, for me, this, I'm not. A lot of people are getting mad about this if you're on the Xbox side, right?
Yeah,
and
as they should be.
I understand that, but this is, for me, there's been a lot of shenanigans. So like, this isn't like a surprise shenanigans, right? Like, we've heard all of this kind of bad arguments before.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm not super mad about that. It's just this is the first time it's serious to me.
Mm-hmm.
The FTC, if the FTC does this action the FTC has taken, is the first thing that actually, I think, seriously jeopardizes this deal. Does it mean it's over? I think no, not at all, because Microsoft would probably most likely win if they went to court. But the question is, can that happen? Can they still make that happen? Will they still make that happen? Will they go through all the mechanisms to get to that point?
Yeah.
It's a lot to get there. I think you could look at this in a lot of ways and say, like, this is the FTC's play to get some serious concessions. As it stands right now, apparently, like, there's no concessions like on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as far as what the FTC is saying here and their complaint.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that you think they may have offered already, like, that hasn't been considered as far as what they've said here. That doesn't mean that they haven't talked, right?
Yeah.
But they haven't, like, I guess, put it on the paper on like, this is what we would actually, go through. So I think it's going to be a back and forth. Like, Microsoft's going to offer, I'm sure, some sort of concessions that they think are fair. But if they can't get these concessions that they think are fair, I mean, I think they're going to try to keep going and go through other methods, possibly court methods to get this to go through.
Yeah.
But there could be a certain point where they decide that, because there's a date set now in August, which is beyond their date of when the merger is supposed to close.
Right. Which was June, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For like a court hearing, some sort of hearing, right?
Yeah.
Case. That doesn't mean that it has to actually happen then. Things can change. And of course, Microsoft and Activision can amend their deal and move their date. So it's not like that immediately stops anything, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot to consider. I'm like, if the FTC is set on trying to stop it, it can push this very far back. And does Microsoft want to keep dealing with this all the way through the majority of next year? I don't know. Yeah. So I mean, I'll throw it back to you guys. If you where you're at, now, how much do you think this is going to go through? What do you think Microsoft will do? What concessions can they offer at this point?
I think they've offered concessions already, in the sense that, they're going to put Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch. They're going to, give PlayStation the rights to still have Call of Duty. I would fight it as far as they can take it, if they have to. Because that basically means that Sony can get away with, like, Final Fantasy, keeping it exclusive and keeping all these other games exclusive, whereas Xbox is the only company that cannot have an exclusive game. So I would fight it until hell boils over. That's just me. Burley, how about you?
Yeah, no, they should keep fighting for it. And like as you said, they are making concessions, and we all knew. Even let's say the deal just went through. You know they are not going to be stupid for what they've paid to get this merger done. All the money they spent, you're not going to give up that sales revenue on PlayStation for Call of Duty because that just doesn't make sense. We all know that they've tried working it out. So Sony doesn't want to play ball because Sony's the angry child of they're not getting their way here. And it's just like it's just sad to see because like seriously, this is business. What like you can't just is your instinct to just act like a tantrum child having a tantrum? You should okay, they're doing that, fine. They're gonna do that. That's gonna suck. It can hurt us in some ways. Why don't we make some other moves we can make that potentially can hurt them?
What was it Phil Spencer said, I think, last week in an interview? He was saying about PlayStation, the way that they stay on top of the market is to make sure that Xbox is smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that was a good quote and very poignant thing to say from Phil because it is what Sony has been doing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have been pulling the levers in ways to hurt Xbox, not just increase themselves, right? Like targeting very specific sort of genres and franchises of games to get exclusivity on, right? Like last generation, the Street Fighter 5 thing, right? Like seems small, but fighting game community is now on PlayStation partially because of that, right? But other things,
Well, they bought Evo. They own a fighting league, and they can control all that. So even if there was, let's say, Killer Instinct 2023 or whatever name you want, they have the option of boycotting and not allowing that into their Evo. Yeah. So to make it only a Sony only fighting game tournament.
Yeah, and going after a Call of Duty, right? Getting the marketing rights, okay, but then getting exclusive extra content, early access to betas and other benefits and perks that they exclusively get. They did for Destiny as well. If you remember Destiny, they got exclusive stuff that was kind of a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
There was if you were into that community, I remember people were like, yeah, I mean, like you're going to play there because there's like significant extra like weapons or something, right? That are very important to that game.
Well, that and Marvel's Avengers. I mean, with the Spider-Man content. I mean,
there's another one, right?
Yeah.
So. Well, for Call of Duty, for example, they were the first ones. I think it was like 6 months to a year. They got the remasters of Modern Warfare 1 and 2. They had early access.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So those were huge games, and it was like they've done stuff like that, and like Sony just does stupid, like they'll do any of this just to keep the advantage, but they took big shots. Remember when the Xbox One was coming out, they took the giant shot because when Microsoft initially did all the always online, no use games, 5 minutes after that conference, Sony put up like a video saying, here's how you play used games on a PS4. Right. And two guys passing disc. It was funny, I'm not gonna lie, but like they are always ready whenever Microsoft does something to be like, okay, they just said this. How can we make this into a negative? How can we spin this to a positive for us? Yep. It's like you can't always get your way and do shady and stuff like that. Do stuff like that, and then another company does something legally, buys a company you want, and then get pissed off and think I should be right. This shouldn't happen. And then even I can't remember who said it, but someone brought up the point of Battlefield to Sony, and so Battlefield can't compete. It's like, actually, Battlefield overtook Call of Duty for a little while. Battlefield is in a slump because EA and DICE have been screwing around, but it's like if I was Sony right now, I wouldn't be focusing necessarily on Microsoft. I'd be going to Battlefield right now and trying to lock them in and be like, okay, we need you back at your glory days of Battlefield, Bad Company 2 and stuff like that, Battlefield 1 and all that. Get you back to where you are, get us our exclusive content for us, start getting focus on there.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of moves Sony could make. I think at this point with the FTC deal, I think we're kind of past Sony's complaints. I mean, you see some of that in there, but Sony's made their piece there made their argument right to the FTC or to all the regulators, and this is now we're at the point where the regulators have made at least one of the major regulators has come to the point where like, well, we voted to block this deal, and the reasons given are pretty damn shaky, and it does seem that what they're really talking about, I mean, is more of big business, right? Consolidation, right? Because that's what realistically, that's what the FTC is caring about the most. Right?
And now you've got some of these big name senators too, like Elizabeth Warren and everyone. She's like chiming in and everything, and Bernie Sanders, about there's got to be competition in the markets, and
and because that's what they're always been about. But the problem with that is that they are also very pro labor, and the CWA union is in favor of this, and when the CWA made a statement about against what the FTC is doing here, because they support Microsoft, because Microsoft is being more friendly than really anyone has ever been
to the labor unions, and establishing unions within the workplace.
So I don't know, like, if they're aware of that. I assume they are 100% aware of it now, because everyone is pointing it out to them, these senators, the situation with that. Because you don't get the unionization that was trying to happen in Activision without Microsoft entering into this agreement, right? It happened before they became that wasn't going to happen, most likely. At least they wouldn't have felt that it could have happened. And now you see also in Bethesda, ZeniMax actually overall, them trying to do a union. They're getting a vote there. And Microsoft, because of the fact that this deal is happening, and maybe it is, not necessarily a genuine reason that they just all of a sudden like, we're happy about the union, but because of trying to make this deal happen, they are being friendly to it, and they said they will stay neutral on anything like this, and that's why you see ZeniMax trying to form a union. So none of that would have happened if they hadn't done this,
right?
So how do they argue that this is bad for labor? I really don't know. And acting like Microsoft is going to significantly change the quality or pricing of any of this stuff it's just absurd, because Microsoft is not the first person to change the price of their games this generation. Sony was there at EA, I believe, and even Activision, right? I think pretty sure COD is $70 now.
Well, it was with the first one on the PS5, Black Ops Cold War. That was the one. I think the only like major big AAA developer that didn't actually change their price was Ubisoft. Oddly enough.
Gotham Knights was 70, right?
Oh yeah.
So you can see like Microsoft isn't leading the charge. They're not like, oh, we're using our power and to raise prices, like, and they're arguing that would somehow change if they did this. I mean, you don't have any proof that would be the case. And as far as quality goes, I mean, there's no incentive for them to lower the quality, because the video game industry is incredibly competitive, and you start making bad games, less people start buying them. And I mean, you could argue that COD and some of these sports games, like, quality has decreased on these annual games, and people still buy them. Okay. That's true. But more people buy them when they are better. So the incentive is still there, right? And it's not to say that if COD suddenly is bad and something else gets better, that that dynamic can't change, because we see games come out of nowhere all the time become phenomenons, like Fortnite, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Rocket League, Minecraft. I mean, these games that you would never have thought that these were going to be the big games we're talking about, and they are.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a story that's going to, be going on throughout 2023 as it has in 2022, and of course we'll be following it. But yeah, I mean, now the FTC getting involved in all of this in this way, yeah, it's pretty frustrating. So hopefully things will continue to, work out. Uh, when it comes to this deal for Microsoft, I hope so. We shall see. But
It's a rocky road,
it's a rocky road, but it's
they got the other regulators too. That's the thing that people
Yeah.
have to really think about. Like,
yeah.
this is a major hurdle, and it doesn't
Yeah.
mean if there's even there's still other hurdles that they have to get past.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
lots of
And I'm sure they knew this before they even considered doing this deal. I mean, there were going to be all kinds of hurdles, But yeah. So okay, well, let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about the Game Awards, guys. So obviously Burley and Carl and Fryman 14, our guest, did of course, their reactions to the entire show. It was like a 3-hour show. You can check that out on the Arena Productions as well. But yeah, we're going to talk about the Game Awards now and give our overall thoughts and all to it. 3 hours long, guys. And it's what's funny about this is Jeff Keighley is trying to turn this more into an Oscars show year after year after year. And obviously he was able to pick out one of the big names with Al Pacino to come on stage and, present the best performer when it came to the voice acting and all. And I just, at times when I was watching this, and I'll get your guys' opinion on this in a second, but I just like he felt like he was in the wrong place, man. It's like I admit I don't play video games that much, but I watch my kids play video games, and then he's like, using the award as a dumbbell, he's like lifting it at all before he gives it to Christopher Judge, but I don't know. What did you guys think of Pacino being up there? He looked a little out of place, even though it was great to see him. What did you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, he certainly was, but and it was kind of fun. Like, at first I was like, why do we got Al Pacino here? This is a little odd. But then we were like, oh, it's for the presenting best performance, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I see what you're going for there. It is what it is. The thing that struck me the most is actually, I was like, man, he's gotten old. He's gotten real old.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, we're all dying, man. Time's passing really quickly.
Gee, thanks for that.
Yeah, well, it's like, it almost seemed like he just got out of bed and he just came and, put on like that suit thing and everything, just walked on stage,
It's a late night for an old man,
Well, it seemed like they literally called him that day and said, "We're going to pay you X amount. Just show up, ramble, be Pacino." And at least he wasn't like over the top Pacino like he has been in movies over the last little while. Yeah. It's like, but it was so out of place. It was so long. Like, I remember when we were recording this, we were all like, okay, can we get to the freaking point here? Yeah. Like, at least he's like, I don't play video games, but I watch my kids play. I was like, oh my god, it's like this was just like other than the fact that gave us all more chances to win Steam Decks. This was just this was here to say, oh, we have Al Pacino here this year. Yeah. Oh, who are they going to have next year? Well, it's all just to get you to come back next year to see what
you seem to be improvising a bit, but and taking a bit long, but that's easily forgotten when the next part happens, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, of course he was mentioning that he was having trouble viewing the teleprompter, obviously with his vision and all. But let's get to that. Of course, Christopher Judge as Kratos. Of course, he wins, for the best performer, but he was probably the person to give everybody more of a chance to win a Steam Deck out of all of these people. I mean, how long was it? Like almost like over 10 minutes he was standing up there, I would say. Yeah. I mean, just what in the hell were these producers of this show and Keeley thinking? I mean, start playing the music after like 2 minutes. Why do they let this guy just stand up there? And he's not even speaking the whole time. He's like standing there with the award in his hand and then trying to think of something else to say. Like, this is my show.
Right.
This is my show. I'm going to talk as long as I damn well want to. And let me see. Okay, I'll thank this person. And then, it's, I mean, yeah, it was just, it was getting cringeworthy after about 6 or 7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't, so like I understand it felt like in the beginning, all right, we're gonna give the respect due to someone,
Right.
who's won an award for something significant.
Right.
He's done the voice before. I don't think he won last time.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I got it at first, but man, did he go on so long to the point where I was like, all right, like who is this guy? Like why is he that big of a deal that you need to let him just go and like hijack your entire show? And honestly, I just kind of think maybe they just didn't have a mechanism in place. Like they didn't think this would happen. So they just didn't have it like ready to go with music. Because eventually at the way end, they did start playing some sort of like music to like play him out. And
but just
I think it's because they just weren't ready for it. They didn't think
just
it was going to
poor
happen.
planning, man. Poor planning. And it's like, before the show, you should have some kind of plans and rules in place. Okay. After 2 minutes, start playing the music because that's too long. We got to get them off stage.
Right.
Well, it's come out because I've seen from a few things, I'm reading a few things here, that after 4 minutes, they had a teleprompter saying, please wrap it up.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like they gave them like a max of 4 minutes kind of thing. And they were trying, and he's like, yeah, I could have gone on even longer. It's like, no, this actually just slogged for me. It was like, yeah, I get it. It seemed like he didn't expect to win and didn't have a speech really prepared. And he was just like, yeah, I got to thank everyone. He felt a little uncomfortable being up there, and I get that. But it was just like, we have to have things in place for this because you don't want these just going on log and log. Because I remember they were saying, oh, we made these shorter this year. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, they tried.
They tried.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely overstayed his welcome.
Yeah.
Because at first people seemed receptive to it, but definitely he got to the point. I was like, all right, guy. You got that thing where like, a lot of people like criticize the Oscars, right? And a lot of people are like, attached to the Game Awards or like, Oscars suck, Game Awards, yeah. And this was a very Oscar moment where someone is going on too long and they're doing something problematic, like unexpected that they aren't interested in, like let's go, let's keep going type thing. But anyway.
Yeah. And let's get to I just want to talk about one of the games, obviously. Stray, of course, won Best Indie and Best New Independent Game. I thought it was really cool to see Stray win this. And of course, the most nominees. Of course, Stray was one of them, along with, of course, Elden Ring, Horizon, Forbidden West, and God of War Ragnarok. So, shout out to Stray for winning the best indie. And I remember hearing you, Carl, as you guys were doing the recording as I was editing it and stuff, and you were saying that, well, yeah, obviously, Stray's going to win the indie award because it's not going to win Game of the Year. So
right. Well, because it was if you nominate an indie and it's the only indie nominated for Game of the Year, I mean, of course that indie is going to win the indie award, right? The thing that disappoints me with this is, I mean, obviously I didn't play Stray. I'm not going to say it's not worthy of any of these awards, but it won both Best Debut Indie and Best Independent Game. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's unfortunate for giving attention and justice to other indie games, right? Like you just highlighted one indie game basically. Like there's so many other. I honestly don't. From my understanding of these games, these indies that were chosen, I don't look at Stray as like above and beyond the others. I feel like they are all contenders, and I don't feel like it should have gotten both awards.
Okay.
I think you should have honored at least one other of these games.
Yeah. Burley, your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Like Stray, I can see going up in Game of the Year, but we all knew it wasn't going to win. That's the thing. We all knew. Indie, yeah, I understand why it won. I would have liked to see Sifu personally win over it, because I think Sifu, especially with the whole mechanics of the aging and all that, it does some unique stuff. Whereas Stray, it is a great game. Don't get me wrong, but mechanically wise and stuff, it doesn't do anything necessarily unique or different. The only other thing is you're playing as a cat as you're going through this world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of cat lovers in the industry, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's any conspiracy, right? Like to this voting, what obviously, like, you can't coordinate what I'm saying, because people aren't voting and knowing what other people are voting when for these awards. So if you're someone who's thinking, all right, I'm going to give Stray best debut indie, and I'm going to give something else this, someone else might be like, well, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to give this that. Or I'm like, you can't coordinate. So like, it just got the most votes on both, and that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, should there even be two categories, debut indie and indie? Just make it best indie.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Best narrative, of course, went to God of War Ragnarok. So everybody was like breathing a sigh of relief, I guess, on that one when it came to Elden Ring not winning that one. So yeah, but yeah, I mean,
can I mention your stuff you're most nominated here? I think it is interesting to point out that Horizon was shut out.
Yeah,
not that that should have been the case, but I mean the competition, between Ragnarok and Elden Ring, like that's the reason.
Yeah, I'm not far in Ragnarok, so I can't say. I like the narrative so far, but it was sad to see that Horizon didn't get anything.
Best multiplayer game, which was surprising to me, went to Splatoon 3. Yeah. I was surprised at that. Yeah. So, I thought Call of Duty was going to get it for sure, but yeah.
It's funny. Every time an award, Call of Duty was nominated for award, and I think it was Fryman, or maybe even you, Burley, who were thinking like, "Oh, Call of Duty could win this one." And in my head, I'm like, Call of Duty's not winning jack shit. Okay. This isn't a popular vote. Okay. The people voting, the industry people voting, I don't even know why they even nominated Call of Duty. Okay. Probably just because, they are technically good games, right? But I don't think any of them in the industry care at all about giving Call of Duty awards.
Yeah. And then, of course, best game direction went to Elden Ring. And then I remember Carl, as I was editing the video there, Carl was just saying, well, it's like Miyazaki when he gets up, okay, yeah, I'm going to go get this, and then I'll be back for Game of the Year later on. So
yeah,
I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking, man. And then, of course, the Game of the Year obviously goes to Elden Ring. And I think this is probably one of the most least when it comes to like surprises, the least surprising game to win of all of the 9 years of the Game Awards, probably. I just think there was no surprise here. It's like,
what about
I thought,
the year of Last of Us versus Last of Us 2 versus Ghost of Tsushima? I feel like it was very similar. Like, I feel like everyone was like, yeah, Last of Us 2 is going to win. But there were a lot of people who were like, oh, I think it could be Ghosts, but it's not how it played out.
Yeah. I think this was the year of all years that it's like, I mean, from the day this game came out, people were just saying it's going to be Game of the Year. And I'll just say it right now. And I posted a tweet on Twitter that I think 2023's Game of the Year is already going to be decided the day it comes out is the next Zelda. So yeah.
Oh God, I hate that.
I
really
hope
hate
not. I hope there's I'd love to see Starfield in that, but you know it, man. There's that big community
God,
of people.
you guys don't know anything. It's going to be Forspoken, obviously. Duh.
that. There's going to be a lot of competition, although,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good chance that the Zelda game is the early front runner and
You're
remains so for the whole year, very
Yeah.
much like Elden Ring. Yeah.
And then, of course, at the very end, the biggest
wait,
snap.
do you want to just like highlight some other awards? Is there any? I have one I want to mention. I don't
Go
know if
ahead.
Harley
Go ahead.
does.
Mention it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to bring up the Best Adaptation Award.
Okay.
That was the new award for the year, and that went to Arcane, and that was the one one that happened where I was like actually clapped. I was very happy to see that game that adaptation win an award because it's incredible. I don't think anybody really expected a show based on League of Legends, right, to be viewed as something that I mean, look, I played some of League of Legends, and I think they have great character designs, so like I wasn't surprised that there was a ton of potential there, but like the art style of this is incredibly unique and amazing, the animation, and of course the story was so well done. Characters are so well written in Arcane that I was like, if it didn't win, I'd have been mad. It was like the only award that I was like the entire show that I was like, that's the one that I want to see.
You wouldn't have given it to Castlevania? Come on.
Well, it wasn't this year,
Right. I just
not actually Arcane technically wasn't even this year, but
it was last year.
They wanted to extend that out for the new award.
Right. Season 2 should be coming soon, hopefully in 2023, maybe late 2023. I don't know. But.
Yeah, the process of making that show is pretty difficult and time consuming. I saw some of the making of it. It's awesome how they do it. Anyway, Pearly, do you have one you wanted?
Yeah, this one I know you're gonna have something to say on. Best sim/strategy game.
Oh yeah,
Mario Rabbids. That one I was like, what?
I'm sure our patron Tuil is clapping for that one. Yeah.
I got it. What were the other nominees off the top of my head?
Dune Spice Wars, Total Warhammer 3, 2 Point Campus, and Victoria 3. Like Triangle Strategy should have been up here.
Okay. That this is something that's unfortunate. Like there needs to be somehow we need to like fix this. Like genres are a problem, right? Genres are a real problem. Because what goes into what genre, it can be really confusing. And if you look at every game on that list, one of these things is not like the other. Okay. And that's the one that won. That game doesn't belong in that category. If you look at what's in that category, Mario, yes, it is a strategy RPG, but it's an RPG, right?
Yeah.
Belongs technically in this when you look at what's in the categories, it belongs in the RPG category because Triangle Strategy was in the RPG category. Those other games are more of your like 4X strategy type, or sim strategy type.
Yeah.
I don't know why they put that game in there. It doesn't belong in there. I don't know how that happened.
To give Nintendo another win.
I don't.
Yeah, only Bayonetta 3. Yeah, pretty much.
The one thing I don't understand about the process.
No, Kirby won for family.
Is because like the nominees are done by all the jury, right? And the industry people that are part of this jury. They aren't like, there's no like shenanigans, right? Like Jeff Keighley's not deciding what's nominated. But I do wonder, like, are they telling them like, hey, maybe certain games can't be nominated here, certain games can't be nominated there? Like, can I, if I was being like silly, could I nominate a racing game for best RPG, like, or best, best whatever, something else? Like, well, theoretically, there's no reason I can't nominate Forza Horizon 5, let's say last year, for best action game, right? Racing is action in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and of course, Bayonetta 3 won for best action game. So yeah, I was a little surprised, but well, so yeah. All right, so let's get to the main snafu of the entire show. Obviously, Miyazaki and his crew come up, the translator and all come up to the stage to accept the award for Game of the Year. And this kid comes up on the stage. And what's interesting is when I watch this, as I was editing your guys' video, you can see the kid as Miyazaki and his and the other three with him are going up to the stage. You can see this kid like farther up in the aisle, walking down by himself,
Yeah.
coming up to come behind them to go on the stage with them. Why the hell didn't they stop him then? Why the hell wasn't there more security? If this kid had a knife in his pocket or something, he could have did some damage to these people, and
Yeah.
let me just finish here. I mean, it was just a snafu of all snafus here, and I mean, they really need to start thinking about how to, improve their stage security for these shows. I mean, because this could have completely got out of hand, and to let this kid get up there, why didn't you turn the mic off on this kid? Because from what I heard, the security people had, you know, seen that this kid was up there. Why didn't they turn the mic off and then go up there after they had already, it's like the cameras had gone farther off and then they started to pull him away, but that the damage had already been done. I mean, he goes up there and speaks into the mic, so they're calling him the Clinton boy, of course. But I mean, what a what a stupid situation that was. I mean, he's up there for the whole damn speech that they're giving, that Miyazaki and the translator and everybody's giving. He's just standing there. There could have been one security guard to come up there and take him away. I mean, they just let him stand there the whole freaking time. Unbelievable. Your guys' thoughts?
Well, here's the thing: how he could get up there. If you walk like you know how to walk and walk like you belong, a lot of people won't bat an eye. That's the thing. Their security is very lax. I will agree with you on that. And it's just like the thing is, you didn't even have the guys that he walked up there with. None of them batted an eye. If one of them would have said like, turned around and be like, "Who is this kid?"
Yeah, even
Would have
Joseph
said,
Ferries, he was standing there. He's like, he should have probably known who the hell is this kid?
"Yeah."
You know?
If one of them would have reacted that way, they would have yanked him off the stage. Yeah, no, the mic should have been turned off. The security should have just been watching and realized, hey, this kid came from way back farther and all that. Yeah, this was a security fail and just people just being lax at this. But boy, was it funny.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't even want to talk about what he said because
No.
I don't know. I feel like there's problematic things with what he said. I don't know why he said it that way, but there's a fact that like this is a couple Japanese people up on stage, right? And I'm sure expat can attest to like Japanese people being respectful,
Right.
and probably they're like, we don't know, they're not sure who this kid is. We're here for this
Or
award.
why he's up there, but we just continue
they're just
to
not.
talk about the award and stuff.
Yeah. I could see if it was like a group of American people, maybe someone would like, hey, like, whose kid is this? Why is he here? Like there might have been something like that, but it's a failing. It's a mistake of security for sure. I don't know. I feel like we should not give this kid attention, because that's the whole point of it.
Well, he did go to he did get arrested.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're still going to hear about him because a certain big gaming news journalist had did interview and talk with him. That's all. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to name names,
Yeah.
I think people know.
Yeah, I think it, I mean, not a big deal. Like no one got hurt, no big deal.
Luckily,
So,
luckily,
lesson learned though, right? For the future,
yes.
like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could see Keeley's face as he was ending the
Oh,
show.
yeah.
He was not happy. Yeah.
No.
So,
No, I mean he's the one who said on Twitter later,
Twitter.
like this
he
kid
was
was arrested.
arrested. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the fact that he went out of his way during like right after the show to make that
Right.
point on
Right.
Twitter. Yeah,
I want to make this
God.
abundantly clear. This kid's going to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and he might not because what he did isn't. I don't know if it's really a crime. That's the thing. So
Plus, he's 15, so he can't really.
right.
He's a minor. He can't go to jail. They can hold him for a little while.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's they're really really lucky. They really are. So
yeah, but I think at this point, I'd like to say that I think overall the presentation and pacing of this year's show was spot on. This is how you need to do it. This is what you need to do. Even as far as like ads go, I mean, like there's a few ads here and there, but you know what? It's a long show.
what was it? The Doritos ad kept popping up for you guys.
Well, that was the Twitch thing, right?
Yeah, that's the Twitch thing. I couldn't stop it. Trust
right,
me.
Right.
Yeah, like some of the ads during the show. I mean, like you tune out, but like you need bathroom breaks. So, I think at that point, like the way he has it set up and the amount of those ads, I think that's fine because again, like I want to at some point be able to get up and not feel like I'm gonna miss something important.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is the framework. I think we're going to get into the content of it, and like specifically for me, I wasn't wowed by much of the content. Not that there wasn't a lot of good stuff. There's good, interesting stuff there. Just there wasn't much that popped for me.
Yeah.
But that's not Keeley's fault. I always give him the benefit of the doubt. Like he can't make developers give him things, right? So like he gets what he can get, and I think he still put together a lot of great stuff, a lot of great stuff to show.
There's just one thing I do want to add because you mentioned about the Japanese and the Japanese culture and everything. But I do want to point something out though, and it's the same with baseball, like with the big like Ichiro and like now Otani, and there's they always have a translator up there. But believe me, and I'm telling you this because I know these people can speak English. The only reason they have a translator up there is because they don't want to make mistakes when they make a speech up there. And so they have the translator to back them up, and they speak in their own language. But believe me, Kojima, he can speak English. Miyazaki, he can speak English. They can speak English. The only one that was up there, what was it for Final Fantasy? He actually came out and spoke English, and I really applauded him for that. But I mean, these others that are up there, they're using a Japanese translator. But believe me, they can speak English.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. Yeah, like you're on a big stage,
right? And they're a little nervous and stuff.
Speaking a second language that you may not be that proficient in. You're proficient enough to understand, have a conversation. But I can see it. I like. You see, sometimes people it can go one way or the other, right? Some people might think like, oh, this guy sounds kind of stupid, or some people might be like, oh, it's charming, and like the girl that one time, I forgot who she was, who was working on, was it the Ghostwire Tokyo, and then the one who left that project, and she spoke in English the whole time, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, she tried.
Yeah, and people were like, oh, this is, people really liked her, and I think part of it was that she was making that effort.
Yeah, she established her own development studio as well. So okay, well, let's start talking about the announcements. I'm going to show a compilation clip of all the stuff that they showed, and we're just going to talk about the things that we were really interested in and what we liked about them. So of course you can check out the gamesradar.com link below for all of you video viewers. You can check out all of the announcements there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this compilation started. And guys, what were you, interested in about the most of these announcements? What were you surprised about? Let's talk about them. So, Burley, I'll start with you, man.
You know what? I was actually surprised with the opening with Dead Cells and Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to check and try Dead Cells out, but this was just kind of cool. It's like, oh, I'll actually check this out next year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really interested, obviously, because I have Forbidden West. So the Burning Shores DLC, I'm really excited to play that, and seeing the Hollywood sign be destroyed, that was fun to see for me, of course, because Los Angeles is, of course, a rival to the San Francisco Bay Area. So I love that part. But I also, when it came to Hades 2, I was really surprised at that, and I'm looking forward to Hades 2, being a roguelite and all. Kind of a challenge for me. And then Death Stranding 2, I mean, goodness. What the heck kind of story is that going to be a continuation of? And then seeing Norman Reedus as a blonde, at the end. I mean, it's like, where is...
it's like gray hair. It's not gray hair.
Yeah, it was gray. It was all gray,
grayish blonde, I guess. Whatever. I mean, it's like how much time has surpassed since the first game. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But anyway, Carl, what about for you?
Well,
there it is. Destroy that Hollywood sign. Yeah. Okay.
I can't wait for that DLC.
Jedi Survivor, of course, was
yes. That's
the most amazing thing to me that I saw. I'm the most excited for that game. Some of the new stuff that it looks like you can do in that looks great. I cannot wait to play that game. And then this is where it gets difficult for me, because there isn't a lot that I was like, yes, like I'm super into that. Like even Space Marine 2, which is something I was like looking forward to seeing when we saw it. And I just rewatched it now in like 4K, and it looks really cool. It looks really pretty in 4K.
Yeah.
Interestingly, it's kind of just straight gameplay in a sense. Like it's cuts of gameplay.
Yeah.
And it seems somewhat forgettable for some reason. I see no one talking about Space Marine 2. It looks cool, but again, it looks like just a lot of, killing a lot of enemies, so that's a weird thing. This I don't know why this Behemoth game like stood out to me, that like one of the VR games. It was just like the tone of it I thought looked interesting. You're like climbing this mountain. It's probably like, it looks to me like it's Norse or maybe some similar aspect, right? In that development. So I mean, VR games rarely seem interesting to me. So that was a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to think of what else. Like,
Viewfinder for me, that was one that really, that one with the whole you changing your perspective and all that just to find your way through. That was really, really cool. It's like, oh, I will definitely keep my eye out on this. This is not something I expected.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course here we get the the tease of Batman, and of course Kevin Conroy. Yeah. So his final performance.
So that trailer, like, okay, that was clearly a setup to like let's show that we have Kevin Conroy's final performance, which is great. I appreciate that. But where's the damn gameplay?
Yeah, no gameplay. Yeah, probably.
Well, they're gonna. No offense, they're gonna milk off that this is Kevin Conroy for the next couple of months leading up to that game, and it's just gonna get nuts.
But I have to agree with Carl. There's no gameplay. Who knows if it's coming out in 2023 or not? Really,
that was a problem I saw with this show. Some of these trailers. A lot of these games are like 2023, no gameplay. I'm like,
no gameplay.
What do you and that's a fair. There's a lot of CG trailers, and I have I don't mind CG trailers, but I think it's more of the idea like the game's coming soon. These aren't the first times you're showing the game.
Exactly.
I don't like the idea like going backwards of like Suicide Squad, right? Like we had this trailer that showed what looked like gameplay. At least it was a trailer that had something that looked like, I don't know if it was like real gameplay, but it was like, that's gameplay sort of. And then we go to the next trailer and it's like back to a tone piece and no gameplay. I cannot understand something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically my feeling is if you don't get any gameplay and it's just CG trailers, that means the game is still far off. And for them showing a lot of CG trailers in here, probably about 6 or 7 of the 10 games that they show might not make it next year. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, so like
I'd like to be wrong, but I would put if I had to put money on it, I would say 2024 for a lot of these games. So, but yeah,
something will get delayed, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, some will.
So replaced again, which looks really cool.
Yeah,
that was delayed. That's coming next year now.
Yeah,
that's on Game Pass.
I was surprised on the stealth drop of here we go. We're going to show you Forspoken again. Here's the demo.
Yeah,
just dropping the demo right there. I do appreciate that because I finally did get to try the game.
Yeah, but Burley, I think when it came to the Horizon Forbidden West DLC, it's only PS5, right?
Yes, it is only PS5.
I was surprised at that. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's only PS5.
Interesting.
Fair enough. And the Diablo one, I was a little surprised because we had leaks earlier of gameplay. It was just CGI for Diablo. It was the CGI cutscene.
Yeah, that's weird too. Sorry, you cut out there, Burley.
Sorry. It's just like you showed gameplay earlier. You're not going to show. You're just going to give us a CGI cutscene of some randy lady talking and just showing you, hey, Tyrion's back with angel powers, fighting against the hordes of hell.
Yeah, it's like we've seen gameplay. You can watch a very lengthy bit of gameplay for that game elsewhere.
Yeah, we showed it. We showed it on the morning show, Burley. When it came to Diablo 4.
So it is a weird thing. Like show something, at least. I get like
5-10 seconds. You don't need a lot.
Yeah.
Show me one little bit of each of the classes, just doing a skill and attack.
Yeah, I mean, like those are games that I get. Like that type of game, a lot of times doesn't show gameplay in trailers because it doesn't necessarily appeal to everyone so easily.
Yeah, especially people watching these Game Awards shows or some type of events, maybe.
I don't know. I wouldn't shy away from showing some gameplay for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Street Fighter 6. I mean, Street Fighter 6 looks really cool, and I really like some of the new characters we saw in this. The designs for those characters are really cool.
Yeah. Now here you go, Carl. I was really surprised that you didn't know who Michael Madsen was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, if you've seen Kill Bill. The 2 Kill Bill movies. He's in it. Yeah, he's the one that shoots Uma Thurman with the rock salt. That's Michael Madsen. If you've seen The Natural, he's Bump Bailey in The Natural. I mean, so he's
The Natural. I mean, I don't remember The Natural.
You probably weren't even born when The Natural came out, right? Yeah.
I mean, I know the movie. I've seen it.
Yeah.
When I was young.
But he's been in a lot of stuff for many, many years. So yeah, I mean. I remember you mentioning during the show when I was editing it, it's like they de-aged him for this game, right? Yeah.
I was a little confused.
He's up there, yeah.
Yeah, I was a little confused because I'm like, wait. At a certain point, I was like, wait, everyone is just themselves. I'm like, oh, so like he threw me off because I was like, he doesn't look anything like
right. Yeah,
at this point in his life.
Yeah. And what did you guys think of the Final Fantasy 16 there? Yeah.
That looked good. I wish we really would have got more like actual real gameplay shown of 16. I'm really excited for 16. So
yeah, FF16, man. I am. losing more and more interest in that game as we go. There was a PlayStation blog post out for this now, and they said like we're going full-fledged action now, and that's a red flag for me. Because they're like, it's the first full-fledged action Final Fantasy. I'm like, Final Fantasy 15 wasn't to you? I'm like, okay. I mean, I know there's a difference. I get the difference, you know, but I don't know that's where Final Fantasy should be going.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I see this game, like I'm looking at it now, like they show gameplay and it's a couple seconds and it's cuts, couple seconds cuts, and everyone like visually it looks great. It's a beautiful looking game, but it's a lot of like just flashiness, effects, and slashing and dashing and dodging enemies and attacking. It's just like that's not what I'm looking for in a Final Fantasy game, obviously, because I like turn-based, and I get that they've gone away from that, but like it seems like we're turning into, I don't know, like what's like I don't know, Neo or like Devil May Cry or that type of gameplay where it's like a skill-based gameplay. Actually, there was a comment in the blog post that says something about like there's a different mode, like you could do story mode, which makes the game easier, essentially, like versus like the regular mode, which is going to be more skill-based. And I'm like, that's not Final Fantasy to me. I don't know what you're doing.
They had that with 15. They had difficulty options.
Yeah,
I played I played through most of the game. Actually, I did beat it all on hard. Yeah, I played it all on hard. Like hard wasn't that hard. It was just a matter of the bosses. Like I looked up something was like, okay, if you're going to this boss, you'd want to be a few levels higher just to stand a better chance. But it didn't matter that much. But we got the Cyberpunk DLC got teased.
Yes, the Liberty
Idris
City.
Elba.
Yeah,
well,
Liberty.
they had a whole trailer for it, right?
Yeah.
God,
Now, is this? I forget. Is this going to be paid DLC or is this one of the DLCs they're giving free to us? They botched.
No, this is paid. This one's paid.
This is paid. Yeah, I'll wait for when it's $1.
This is the only. I think they said this is the only DLC they're doing, and it's paid.
Oh yeah, because they cut a lot of stuff. They said,
yeah,
forgot about that.
Yeah,
I'm make a point of like with DLC, like I really like Cyberpunk, and I would probably be interested in playing this. Mm-hmm. But and same thing with the Horizon Forbidden West. Like DLC now to me, like I don't really care anymore. You give a big DLC trailer, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's probably more of a good game, but I don't go back to games like that. Like I've moved on. I played that game, and Horizon. There's a chance I could play that DLC because I'll play it later, and I might get a copy that has it included.
Or you know what you do, Carl? You just wait until the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC included comes down to a decent price for you, and then pick it up. And I think that's what a lot of people should be doing.
Yeah, I get Idris Elba in the Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
which is cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and Keanu Reeves still in it as well.
Yeah.
So.
There's just so many games. There's too many games. There's so many great games to play and different styles of games that, like, for me to go back to a game that I played a while ago that I already beat. Right. And a lot of times it's like you have to be in a certain place in the game.
Yeah.
To get into the DLC. And it's like, I just don't want to bother with it. I just want all right, I'm at the point where I kind of feel like, I don't know, maybe stop with this high-end DLC and just make sequels. Yeah. Like just start on the sequel instead.
Or do what they're doing with Assassin's Creed Mirage. I mean, it was supposed to be DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They made it into an entirely, standalone game.
So take your $20 DLC and charge $50.
I mean,
that's their motive, but
make it into a full game instead, right? Or even maybe the better idea for me is like the standalone DLC, right? Like make it it's a shorter experience. But like, I mean, look, Miles Morales, right? You could argue that that's basically standalone DLC, right? Like it's better. It's basically what you're saying, Burley. Like they took what could have been a DLC and like, now let's make it a full-fledged thing and sell it on its own. It's like Mirage, I would assume is in that scope, right? Like it's not super long, right? They already said the length of it. It's not that long, but it's long enough to feel like it's its own full game.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the sort of the better avenue in lowering the price on those, not selling them for full price. Like The Last of Us did it with what's it called?
Left Behind.
Left Behind, right? You play that on its own, because there's this problem, like, Wasteland 3 and Outer Worlds, where like I want to play those DLCs, but you gotta be in a certain place and you gotta go back to the game, your save, and like I don't remember where I was or which save I want to play, or I don't want to just make it. If you can make a separate experience that I can just say, all right, start DLC.
Yeah, just go through a portal and you go into the DLC. So.
I get your points on it, and I totally understand. For me, it's I don't buy a lot of DLC. The DLC's got to be worth it and good. Like Horizon, they did such a good job with the one from the first game.
Frozen Wilds.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed Frozen Wilds, so it's like, and I really enjoyed Forbidden West, so it's like, okay, you're gonna give me more to this because I know it's gonna be another 4.
Burning Shores is probably going to be just as good as Frozen Wilds, I think. So
I hope so,
probably.
and I'm
hopefully so,
probably will. So it's like that I have no problem doing that and spending the money there. Some of these other DLCs for games, it's like, I'll never pick up or buy.
Yeah,
I agree. Like the game has to be good, and I want to buy. Like I want to buy this DLC. The game, and like I agree with you on some games. They come out with DLCs, but it's like, I never want to go back and replay this game. Like Gotham Knights, if it gets paid DLC that comes out in the next couple of months, it's like, I'm never touching that shit again. No.
Yeah,
unless they drop it on Game Pass, and then the DLC wouldn't be included. That's the problem. Also,
right. Even if they gave you that that DLC free in that game, it's still not worth it.
For me, I'm saying like, if that game began to Game Pass and the DLC was included, I haven't played it yet, so I might experience it. But otherwise, no.
Okay.
I'm looking at Tekken 8 now. And Tekken, man, it's just like Tekken is such a weird game to me. Tekken, like it's the 8th game in the franchise. It's been going for a long time. It's a good fighting game. It's never been for me. The style of gameplay, like I've always been terrible at it. I don't like it. It's cool looking. I like Street Fighter 6 to me looks more interesting if we're like comparing the two who are both at the show.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6 has a more visual style that stands out better than Tekken.
Yeah,
I think we can all agree there. Yeah, Tekken. I've played a few, but like that's the thing. These fighting games, I'd rather them be on like PS Plus or Game Pass and just try and play, because I never get in depth at them. I suck at these fighting games. It's like I'll play for like 4 hours and then never touch it again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with the 2 Arc System games coming to Game Pass. You get the Guilty Gear, is it Strive, and then the Blaze Blue, like something tag battle, whatever crossover game. Because I want to try those. I always want to try. I used to like fighting games a lot, right? But like nowadays, like I'm not gonna buy a full price fighting game. Probably not gonna, but I would like to try some of them for sure. So I would like to see how that impacts these. Tekken 8 has weird muscles, like the Incredible Hulk. You remember like the Incredible Hulk movie with the one before Mark
the
Ruffalo.
2003.
Yeah, the one. Why am I forgetting his name? Ed Norton, right? The Ed Norton one.
Yeah.
Like the muscles on that being like very like tight and exaggerated and like muscles on muscles. Like that's Tekken 8. I'm like, oh man, this is a lot. It's a lot of muscle. Mario. You want to talk about Mario, huh? Super Mario clip?
Yeah, we can talk Mario clip. Expat, you there?
I know. I feel like we can just, we got some. I don't know.
I don't have a Mario clip.
Okay, no, that's fine.
No.
It's fine. We're gonna keep going, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
All this.
Yeah. There was one game that I'm looking for here that I want to mention, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The Mario clip was interesting. It's a clever sort, I guess, way of like, this is how we get some platforming in it, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting, and maybe because there's so much else going on, but like, I didn't see people moaning about and crying about the voice of Mario this time after this one. People,
You just brought it up. I'm triggered.
yeah.
No.
People seem to just let this one go. Maybe because we heard more of it, and maybe because you can actually now hear that he's doing a voice that doesn't just sound like Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Well, the first clip they ever showed of the voice was not the clip you want to show, I think.
And he barely said anything. Yeah.
Yeah. That was not a good one. But like the clips we saw, I liked. I'm just still antsy on this movie. I'll probably end up seeing it in the theater, but it's just like, I'm not the hugest Mario guy, but like, I'm curious to see like Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong, see how much of it is going to be just the generic Seth Rogen, or are they going to do something different?
Yeah. I do want to
Because
see
I like Jack Black's Bowser. I think it fits really well.
Yeah. Okay, the other game that I wanted to mention was, of course, From Software, obviously out here in Japan, Armor Core 6. Seeing that trailer. That was a cool trailer, and the mech battles. Of course, I'm a big fan of the Mech Warrior series, obviously going way back, and I love this game. I'm looking forward to playing it. So I was happily surprised to see that trailer. So for Armor Core.
Like that was missing from this website.
Yeah, it was missing from it. Yeah, but anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never played an Armored Core game, so like, this trailer didn't mean much to me because I don't know what to really expect from an Armored Core game.
Yeah, Armor Core 6: Fires of Rubicon. Yes, it's the name of it. So,
I've always wanted to try the series. I've seen so many like ads back in the day in magazines and on websites. Mm-hmm. But it has been like 13 years since the last Armored Core game, so it's nice that the fans are getting another one.
Yeah,
this is going to be the Dark Souls of Armored Core games.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right.
Were those games difficult? I don't know.
I don't think they're too difficult. I mean, not like the Souls games or anything like that. But I mean, you have to be able to, maneuverability is very important in that game. So you have to, you have to
hashtag get good.
You have to know how the control schemes work really well. So, but anyway, let's talk about one more thing about the Game Awards. And Carl, I want to throw this one to you because you're the Xbox guy here on the show. I mean, you play the most on Xbox, and there's a lot of people out there that are really upset about the fact that Microsoft left a lot out of the Game Awards. And we were talking before we started recording, of course, Phil Spencer was in the audience and everything. And you were saying that he seemed like he wasn't too thrilled, and he probably had a lot of other things on his mind. But I mean, and there's a lot of people in the media saying that, this is the biggest event of the year. Really? What happened to E3, I guess. But anyway, I mean, it's the biggest event of the year. And Microsoft was just almost completely absent. Your thoughts on this? I mean, was it a strategy of theirs to leave a lot of games out, or I don't know. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I mean, they had Diablo 4 and Crash Team Rumble there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
which technically is not
No, they don't.
not
Not theirs yet.
Yeah, right. No.
Yeah, but
They had party animals, right? Day one Game Pass.
yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
Starfield was like only like 2 or 3 seconds, I think, you know.
You blink it, you could because they showed Starfield
Yeah.
a few times in that trailer roll, but every
in the Game
time you
Pass
could have you could have blinked. You could
Yeah,
have
no
blinked and missed.
Redfall. I mean,
Yeah. Look,
yeah.
did I want to see Microsoft games here? Yes, of course. I wasn't necessarily expecting anything big, from the Xbox community. People, nobody's really people sort of downplaying. Like, I think it was sort of known that they probably weren't going to do anything, with anybody outright saying that they weren't. But is it a huge missed opportunity? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna. I like to see a lot of people really criticizing Xbox, like, how, oh, you just failed to show up. What are you doing? What's your strategy? And it's like,
Yeah, but there's a lot of
look,
people out there too that would say that, and maybe from the Xbox community as well, would say, well, the game awards is basically a Sony show.
and yeah, but look, Microsoft, Xbox had something big at the last 3 Game Awards shows.
Yeah.
Okay, they revealed Series X.
Yeah.
Right. They
That was
revealed
big. Yeah.
they revealed Perfect Dark.
Mhm.
And last time they showed was gameplay of Hellblade 2.
Yep. Which we didn't see at all this time.
Well,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, look, they've been there. They've been there 3 years in a row. Like, oh, they miss a year, and now suddenly, like, what are you guys doing? How dare you? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I give them. I honestly think, yeah, like, there's things going on, and they chose not to be there for these reasons, right? And it's obviously the Activision deal, right? Did they pull something last minute? I doubt. I highly doubt that. I feel that they just made the choice of, like, we're not in a place where we need to be highlighting these things right now, because they're waiting for the FTC ruling.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that's going to change things. I think the way the timeline of this possible deal happening now, they have to make a choice of, do we keep pushing it and going the length of it, and then in that time now we can't not talk about our games, right? They're going to have to just be like, we have to change our strategy and go back to making the big show of it, because we can't delay it anymore.
We'll just focus on the studios you do have, which are a lot,
Well,
and focus on them.
Yeah. What I mean is, like, I feel like they were looking at it as like, this is a show we can skip. We can delay talking about some stuff. And look, Sony did the same thing. This is a rumor. This is speculation, right? But Sony didn't have a showcase this year. And a lot of people say that that's because they're making this argument against the deal, right? So they didn't want to come out and say, look at all this amazing stuff we have that's exclusive to just our platform,
Yeah.
So if you have to, I think you have to look at, like, both of them making these very difficult business decisions, right?
Yeah.
And did they miss out on the highest viewership event possibly of the year? Yes, they did. But they're still there with their ads, with their Game Pass and their Samsung TV partnership, right? They're still, that's still gonna get whatever sort of engagement nonsense, right? The games are obviously bigger, but, like, when they do a show, they can do their own show, and they're probably gonna have to for Redfall, Starfield, and Forza early in the year, because those are supposed to come out within the first 6 months. So you're not going to see them they're going to wait till E3, right?
They'll probably have 1 or 2 showcases before E3, I think.
And whatever that show is, that's going to get covered by every media outlet, by every major influencer and YouTuber, right? So it's not like they're going to miss out on much. Yes,
and us.
Everyone's going to talk about it. It's going to happen. I'm not really that bothered by it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was disappointed that we didn't get to see more of Starfield or some of the other games, but yeah, I mean, I look at it as though, they might be coming at it as, well, we're just not ready to show it anymore yet.
Well,
a
that's
lot of these games. So we'll we'll wait till the showcases and focus on them. So Burley,
that's what that I was going to say. That they would rather, I think, wait. They may not have nothing significant that they really want to show. Plus, remember, we're going into the holidays in the next, like, all the holidays will be coming and happening. So people's minds are going to be shifting into that and focusing on that. Why do that now? You wait till the early next year, you drop some Starfield stuff or for Redfall or whatever other game, you start getting it out, and then plus you can have it at your own events that you can control more and show exactly what you want. Not to say that they couldn't do that with the Game Awards, but I have a feeling it's just there's nothing we're going to show right now that is going to help too much. Like Carl said, they had the Game Pass ads. You got Starfield there and other games shown there with those little ads for 2 seconds, but it's all they need.
Yeah.
When they're ready to show Starfield again at a big thing, they will show it again.
Yeah.
They're ready to show Redfall again, they'll show it again.
Yeah.
So that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have the
reading more into it.
Yeah, they are, but they also have the misconception that like the Game Awards is where these major publishers typically reveal stuff. I mean, Microsoft actually has done more than many have. Like Sony, if you look at what Sony did here, they gave you first party Sony, right? They gave you Horizon.
Forspoken, yeah.
No, that's not first party, right? So like if you're talking strictly first party Sony, very strictest sense, you got just Horizon Call of the Mountain and Horizon Burning Skies, right? Is that what it's called?
Burning Shores.
Burning Shores,
right?
Yeah.
You could also throw in there Death Stranding 2 because that is first party published, right?
Yeah.
I think they own that IP. So let's give them those, right? But like
Forspoken is Square Enix, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but they didn't give us,
right.
Spider-Man 2, right?
Right.
Whereas they didn't give us that. So like, and yes, Forspoken demo, third party, timed exclusive. Final Fantasy 16 third party timed exclusive. I mean, Sony looks like they have a bigger presence because they made those partnerships, right? They're able to make those third party timed exclusive partnerships that Xbox can't make. They just wouldn't work. So like they would have to pay an astronomical amount of money to get Final Fantasy 16 timed exclusive. It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And Nintendo, where's Nintendo? Right?
Yeah.
Who's out there saying, "Oh, Nintendo blew their chance to show Zelda"?
Yeah.
No one's out there saying that.
No. Yeah. Nintendo is Nintendo. They do their own thing.
Yeah, like
everybody knows
Fire
that.
Emblem. We saw Fire Emblem again, right? Okay, cool. Saw a little bit more of Fire Emblem. We've already seen that game. It's not like it was over.
And we saw the next. We saw Zero of the next Zelda as well. So
that's the thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was more.
Mm-hmm.
I was more curious to see if we were going to get hardware for Nintendo here.
Yeah, like a Switch 2 or something.
I still think we're going to get new hardware from them.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about that on our first episode of the year for our predictions and things that we think are going to happen in 2023. I'm sure one of Burley's predictions is going to be the next iteration of the Switch, but we shall see. But
Super Switch.
Yeah. And then, of course, for Carl, a PS Slim model and like an Xbox, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be an Xbox Slim, but
I don't think so either.
It's called the Series S.
Yeah, right. They already have it.
Yeah.
Are there any other games I think quickly I want to bring up like this game that the one Crime Boss, right? Rocky City.
Yeah.
Like, is that, we talked about it briefly because the actor's in it.
Michael Madsen. Yeah.
Is this like a GTA clone? Like, we don't even know.
It seems like it. Yeah. With, Danny Glover is actually a part of it as well.
I'm curious, but like also it's, it's not if that's what it is, and that's what it seems like, I'm not necessarily hugely into
or like
that.
a mafia style of game, something like that.
Yeah. More Baldur's Gate 3 we saw. Sorry.
Yeah.
That Crime Boss game, that that's rubbing me the wrong way because it's like, oh, we got all this high talent. So they're dropping most of the budget. Seems to me it's going to all these actors, and it's like, so
I don't
are
know,
we
man.
going to just get a generic game? I just have the feeling we're just going to get a generic game, but the thing that holds it up is you got Mads Mikkelsen, you got Danny Glover, you got Michael Rooker.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's that's a discussion we'll be having at some point, I think, where
next year.
where a lot of these games, that they're trying to get more of the the A-list actors into these games. Well, I mean, is the quality of the games going to be affected by the amount of money that's going to be put in the pockets of these A-list actors to be a part of these games? We'll be talking about that at some other point, I'm sure. But okay, so so that is our
just a couple more. Sorry.
Go ahead, Carl. Go ahead.
Just wanna,
Yeah.
we got to talk about the games, man. Dune Awakening, survival MMO, open world thing could be interesting.
Mhm. Yeah.
A Party Animals I mentioned briefly, but Party Animals looks like a lot of fun, like a little party game.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
looks cute.
that looks like, for me, just streaming that just looks like that's just gonna be in hilarity ensue.
Yeah, it could be like the next type Fall Guys type thing. Judas, I think we didn't mention. I think that's a significant one to bring up.
Yeah.
That's the BioShock creator, Ken Levine, his new studio, his game. I'm not a BioShock person. I didn't actually ever play BioShock, so it doesn't hit for me, but it looks interesting, and a lot of people are probably really excited about that.
I'm very interested, but like the thing is, I love those games when they came out. When Sony gave you on PS Plus the remasters or the ports of the BioShock collection, I tried to go into BioShock 1, and it's just like, this isn't as well as I remembered it.
It's old.
So, yeah, it's like,
yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get to our new game releases for the week. Of course, obviously, the link that I put earlier in the show, you can go and check out all the game announcements and everything from, of course, the Game Awards. So, all right. Okay. So, Carl, you're up first. What do you have for us for your pick of the week for the week of December 12th through the 18th?
I have chosen High on Life, coming out on December 13th. For PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. Partner with Talking Guns. Collect intergalactic bounties, take down an alien cartel, and save Earth in the latest game from the mind of Justin Roiland. Fresh out of high school with no job and no ambition, you've really got nothing going for you until an alien cartel that wants to get high off humanity invades Earth. Now you and a team of charismatic talking guns must answer the hero's call and become the deadliest intergalactic bounty hunter the cosmos has ever seen. Travel to a variety of biomes and locations across the cosmos. Go up against the nefarious Garmantuous.
Garmantuous,
and his gang of goons. Collect loot, meet unique characters, and more in the latest comedy adventure from Justin Roiland.
These are cute guns.
Yeah, and this is day one Game Pass game.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Again, first person shooter not necessarily my thing, but I do like Justin Roiland's comedy style from Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm.
And the early impressions and people who played this game at whatever event it was, they only said good things about it. So it could be a one to watch.
Nice. Nice. Good stuff.
those. The design of like the creatures and everything that's good, and the humor is going to be good in there.
Oh yeah. Okay, Burley, you're up next. What do you got for us?
What I got for y'all is Melatonin. Melatonin is a rhythm game about dreams and reality merging together. It uses animation and sound cues to keep you on beat without any intimidating overlays or interfaces, harmonized through a variety of dream levels containing surprising challenges, hand-drawn art, and vibrant music. It is coming Thursday, December 15th to PC and Switch. This just looks so good graphically to me.
Yeah, it's nice style.
I like the style, and as I say, like not a giant HUD and stuff, all that. I suck at rhythm games, but I do like them.
Gotcha machine. No, that's a UFO catcher, actually. Yeah. Yeah. So melatonin. All right. Okay, I'm up next. So up next, if you're waiting for Starfield, here's one for you in PC Early Access coming up on Wednesday, December 14th, called Starcom Unknown Space. Starcom Unknown Space is an action RPG of space exploration and adventure. Build your own starship while discovering an epic story in a universe of strange mysteries, alien factions, and uncharted worlds. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. And you can, building your own starship. I mean, that's I like that. And porting from system to system looks pretty cool. So Starcom Unknown Space. Discover alien worlds. That looked like a halo there, Carl. Yeah.
Yeah, right there in that picture.
Yeah, I was gonna say that picture there was right there, Halo.
Yeah. Yeah. He might have 343 Industries coming after him for that. Who knows? But yeah, in early access on PC. So
All
stuff. Yeah. All right.
Reminds me of I forgot the name of it now. It was like a Dreamcast game. Early Dreamcast game that was something like that. That type of gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't think it didn't have the like text sort of RPG elements on top of it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So those are our picks of the week for the week of December 12th through the 18th. Of course, you can go to releases.com to check out all of the new releases that are coming this week and every week. So so go and check those out. So it's time for us to talk about the games that we will be playing this upcoming week. Burley, are you finished with the Forspoken demo, or are you going to play a little bit more of that?
I'm done with the Forspoken demo.
Okay.
I put my time in. It's just like I'm done. For me this week, I'm just going to keep putting. I'm going to be streaming a lot of God of War, putting time into that. Put some time, try and see if I can finish Last of Us Part 1.
Cool. All right. Carl, how about you? What are you going to be playing this upcoming week?
Persona 5 Royal still.
Mm-hmm.
I like Chained Echoes. I like really want to play it, but like, man, I'm supposed to play Plague Tale Requiem after I finish Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
So I should take a break from the turn-based RPG and not go straight to another one. So I need to get. I like really do want to play through Chained Echoes. I don't know how long it is, so I will eventually get to that. But it's going to be Persona 5.
Nice.
Oh, you know what? I have to play. I played in Culinati. I forgot. This is a demo period right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to play. I will play, so I could talk about it pretty quickly. Thirsty Suitors was the other demo I wanted to check out.
Okay.
How that game?
Yeah, I got that demo installed, so I do want to check that one out. And Culinati was cool. I liked it. It's a very strategic, turn-based sort of like, almost like a Magic the Gathering type of style, but there's the art style looks like Pentiment, right? It's not like the deck. It's not like a deck of like random like cards you draw, but it is sort of that like I have a certain amount of like resource to summon these specific units that can do specific things, and then you have like hand abilities that you can either move units or like do some damage, so there's similarities to that. It's really cool. It's very strategic and interesting game.
Cool.
And that'll be on Game Pass too. So
yeah, for me, I want to start the Lego Skywalker Saga. I downloaded that on Game Pass, so I want to start playing that. But I definitely want to get farther into Callisto Protocol, get as far as I can get there, and go back to God of War Ragnarok as well. So, a lot of stuff. So I'm sure I'll probably be finishing up those games during the holiday break, but which is coming soon. And just a programming note, of course, next week will be our last episode of the weekly podcast here. until the beginning of 2023. So we'll be looking forward to bringing that to you. And then, of course, Burley and I, we're going to be doing the morning show for this next week. And then we're going to be closing up shop on the morning show until 2023. So around, I think, around the 10th, we will be coming back for the morning show, and on the 7th for the weekly edition of the podcast. So stay tuned for next week. It'll be our final edition of 2022. So stay tuned for that. And then next week we're going to be doing Willow, hopefully Willow episodes 3 and 4 recap and reactions to those 2 episodes. So stay tuned for that. And looking forward to talking about the year in review next week on the episode. That's going to be our topic. So talking about all the big news stories of 2022 in the world of video games and game development. So stay tuned for that. All right. So it's time for our indie recording artist spotlight to end the show. And obviously it's Christmas season. So another Christmas song for you all this week. This week's spotlight is on Ian Post. No stranger to the Arena, multi-platform gaming news podcast, Ian Post has established himself as a highly sought-after composer in video and film scoring. From his Christmas album titled On the Eve of Tradition, and the song is called God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. So this has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 115. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleyman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl. We hope to catch you next week in the next episode. So take care, everyone. Peace out.